Welcome to 5 in 5 from the One Stop Co op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today I'm looking at the solo mode in Starship Captains, a 1 to 4 player light Euro. And disclaimer that I did get a review copy of this one. I'm a big fan of Czech Games Edition, for example, Lost Ruins of Arnak is a recent favorite. Does Starship Captains rise to the height of that game? Let's find out and get to the list. So first, my number 5 for Starship Captains, which is a pro for me, is the accessibility of the game. I've taught this to my 10-year-old, and he didn't have much trouble playing it. The turns are basically micro turns, and they pass very quickly. You're generally going to activate a single station, which even when you add some extra ones from technology cards is not very complicated. Or you're going to resolve a mission, and those also only take about a moment. So the game plays quickly, it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's really straightforward to teach. But I'm switching to a full-on con for my taste for my number 4, and that's how the solo mode plays out. And again, this is very much based on my taste because this is a beat-your-own-score solo mode, and I tend not to love those. In fact, there's kind of no competition at all. You've got these AI cards you resolve after each of your turns, and they're very simple to do. I will give the solo mode credit that's very simple to run. But it basically just moves around this other player pawn, and they kind of like move stuff off the board, in a way sometimes helping you. Like they do the job of having more presence on the board, which I know is what they're in the game for, but it kind of feels like much ado about nothing. And the other main element of solo is having a passenger card. They have several to choose from that has a little once per round ability and also affects your scoring a little bit and has access to these different technology cards. But the tech cards you don't get to unless you advance on the faction track in a very specific way. The ability I found half the time doesn't really matter that much. The scoring sometimes doesn't really matter. So again, it feels like kind of a missed opportunity for more actual variety and diversity. Right now, the solo is just a little bit dull for me. My number 3 point for Starship Captains is a mix for my taste, and those are the mission cards that make up the majority of your victory points. On the positive side, the art for these is lovely. Like, it's really like a fun sort of a parody / homage to Star Trek. And to their credit, the missions, which require different types of crew members who unlock different bonuses, do have nice varied effects, and they can sometimes combo into like giving you more actions on that turn, so I appreciate all of that. But on the negative side, despite the great art, they feel kind of entirely unthematic. Like, I guess you can sort of figure out how the rewards match up with the theme of it, but really you just kind of start looking at icons as you play more. And then also, while this does play into the accessibility that I liked, the just board movement of like going around and doing different missions is pretty simplistic, and I don't think is going to hold even medium weight Euro fans' attention very long. My number 2 point is also a mix for my taste, and that's the way the game ramps up over time. On the positive side, there are cool ways you upgrade yourself. I like the tech cards and kind of the combos they can give you. I like how you can upgrade your crew members or even turn them into commanders that give you double actions. That all feels good, and like repairing your ship and getting more space for things. But on the negative side, pretty big negative for my taste, the game is only 4 rounds, and again that plays into the accessibility and the ease of play. The game is over very quickly, but for my taste it is too quick. By the time 4 rounds is over, I usually just feel like I'm sort of starting to get an engine going. I just feel like I'm starting to have more interesting turns. So I feel like maybe they went for ease of play over depth and complexity in like your engine building, and at least for me, that's a little bit of a letdown. I feel like I want the game to go a couple rounds longer. And my final point, number 1, is also a mix for my taste, and that's how you use your crew and sort of like the worker placement of the game in a way. And this touches on previous points that I've already said, but on the positive side, I do like how simple the turns are, how you just use generally a single crew member, and they've got this queue system where like you put people in the back as you use them, and then at the end of the round, they all slot forward except for the last 3. So you have like interesting little decision point of like which actions you do later in the turn, because that's going to affect the workers you have accessible next turn. I think that's all pretty cool. But like I already said with the last point, the pacing feels a little bit off. Like you'll have turns where you only do like 2 actions total. It just feels like I don't have enough workers or enough rounds to really make things interesting. So it feels like the system doesn't have a chance to fully shine as much as it could. So overall, I think you might want to check out Starship Captains if you like light Euros, quick playing ones that are simple to teach, you can play with casual players, and especially if you're going to look for it multiplayer. I think that's where it shows itself best. But on the other hand, you might want to avoid this one if you like longer, meatier Euros or you're going to be playing with a heavier crowd. And like I said, at least for my taste, I didn't find the solo that engaging, so I don't think that's a reason to pick up the game if you're primarily going to play it solo. But you can check it out for yourself because I have a full playthrough of the solo mode. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.